I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome and good morning to Augusta Government Day. The 8th of November, goodness. All right, welcome. My name is Andy Hunthausen. I'm chairing the commission right now. Commissioner Tom Rolfe. This is our Public Works Director, Jenny Chambers, Commissioner Candace Payne, and we have Captain Bragg, and he'll talk about his new world in a few minutes here. And then I'm going to, Betsy Kirkaby's back here. She's our information specialist. And we have a bunch of people from the health department. And so if you guys would just jump up, wave your arm and say your name, each one at a time, be great. So that we know we have where the county people are. Go ahead. Shelley, go ahead and start.
I'm Shelley Ma. I'm a nurse with the health department.
Joni Brooks, nurse with the health department.
I'm Amber Johnson, communication specialist for the health department.
I'm Laurel Reed, the environmental health and disease prevention administrator for public health.
Great. Thank you all very much. And Sarah Howe Cobb is here as well, and she is now recently retired.
Member of the health department.
Yes.
Honorary, thank you.
Yes, it has been the base for a long time. And then our local, wonderful former commissioner, Susan Good-Geesy's here too. Back there, she's trying to hide out. She can't hide out from us. So anyway, welcome to all of you. Grateful for you being here today. We do have an action item today. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but we're going to start with reports and some information. And Captain Bragg, you get to be first. Before you go, though, I'm going to tell everyone we are now running under a new kind of format, and some of you are familiar that come to every meeting, but last legislature, they said we have to record every meeting from a video perspective, and that has to be put up online within 5 days of every meeting where there's a quorum of the commission. And so we're trying to do that and do it in an organized way. And so we have a little podium up here. So we're going to ask each of our speakers, except for the commission, to come up to the podium and speak. And when we provide opportunity for public comment, if you have public comment on any of the issues that we bring up today, we're going to ask you to come up to the podium, state your name, and then give us public comment. So we're required to do that now. So it used to be a little more just back and forth, talking from the crowd and less formal, but it is our new reality. So thank you again all for being here. And Captain Bragg, I'll send you to the podium, if you would, please. You can introduce yourself and tell us all about it.
So those that don't know me, my name is Bradley Bragg. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for coming up on 13 years now. I'm filling in for Sheriff Dutton. We had a busy schedule today of ceremonies and graduations down in Helena, so we had to kind of split it up. One of our deputies is graduating the basic academy, so we wanted to make sure the sheriff was there to congratulate him, so I figured I'd come up here and spend some time in Augusta going over everything with you guys. As Commissioner Hunthausen talked about, we are going to be doing a little bit of shuffling around at the Sheriff's Office. Captain Kevin Wright, who was the Special Operations Captain for the last 4 or 5 years almost. He's going to be retiring after 22 years of service to the county. He's going to be moving on to a new position in the civilian side and still be around and everything like that, but he's going to be hanging up his duty belt. So as part of that reshuffling, I'm going to be moving over from, I've been running the jail for the last 3 years. I'm going to be moving over and taking over special operations from him, which covers our coroner division, civil division, DARE, SRO, training, all the specialty teams, pretty much anything that's not patrol, detectives, or detention will come to me for all the wonderful guidance and answers. Give you guys some updates on the Sheriff's Office. We're going through a hiring cycle right now for deputies. We have 2 deputies retiring, one of which is Captain Wright, the other is Corporal Matt Boudreau. After 20 years, he's going to be hanging it up in December. So we have 2 spots to replace, and then we've created 2 additional spots with some of our detention spots that were left open to be able to get us some more guys on the street and be able to help out with getting ahead of the game a little bit with what we should be having for some more personnel. I believe it'll bring us up to 55 55 or 56. I can't remember exactly which number that is, but that's how many sworn we'll have. So we're looking at hiring 4 from this pool, getting them up and running. It does take a while in the process of getting through the academy and field training and getting them spun up, but we're looking forward to having that done. Some of the bigger events we had over the last month, we got a lot of support from the community for the Mega Known search that we had down in the Helena Valley. The gal that was on the horseback that fell into the river, and we were able to find her. We had a whole lot of support though from the community. We really appreciate everybody coming out, helping with the ground search, helping with providing food, water, and just being there and helping to support the family as well. Didn't turn out how we all had hoped, and wish everything like that would turn out, but it was kind of nice to be able to give some closure to the family of being able to find Megan and be able to provide them a little bit of peace of mind of knowing what happened and kind of going through that. Fire season's kind of calmed down a little bit, so we're hopeful that we get some snow here pretty soon. We get a lot of snow this winter, so we don't have a really bad fire season next year. I think that's pretty much it. Devin Taylor's still up here as our Augusta deputy, so, and I know he's loving it up here, and from what we've heard so far, for the most part, you guys are loving him up here, so we're looking forward to him continuing doing what he's doing up here. And I think that's all I really have, so I'll be available for any questions or anything like that.
Thank you very much, really appreciate it, Commissioner.
Last night late, I was coming back in town from being out of town, and there's a whole bunch of excitement on the east side of town there. And I heard something about maybe an explosion or something.
So I just heard about that when I got here this morning. I was kind of wondering why I didn't hear about it, because I'm on call for our administration, and normally we get a call about an explosion for sure. I talked to Betsy, and it was actually in city limits, so I don't have any of the details. They wouldn't have called us and done anything, but I can certainly do some digging to find out exactly what it was. But it was within the city limits, so city police department would have been handling that one.
Great, great. Maybe while others are speaking, you can send a text or a message, find out from your partners about what happened.
Yeah.
At the end, we can give a report. But thank you very much. If anyone has public comment related to the sheriff's office or questions for the sheriff's office, this is the time. You're welcome to come up to the podium and please come on up, introduce yourself, and lay it on us.
Of course.
Welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to thank the Sheriff's Department. I was at the elections office from 6:30 a.m. until 12:30 a.m. on election day and night. And your presence there within that meeting, which was that event, we were jammed, just belly to belly. And you guys did a great job, like going through, not necessarily really engaging, but being a presence in that small little place. That was really, really helpful. I just want to let you guys know that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other?
I'm Susan Goodgeesy.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Susan. A follow-up, if I might, Mr. Chair, I was down there and there were several people, including former Commissioner Geesey, that were down volunteering. It was a big effort. And it went on longer than we thought because there were so many people that wanted to get registered, which is exciting. I think in the last 2 days, the elections office registered over 500 people to vote. So it was a big deal. The final people didn't get registered and voted until about midnight or shortly after. So thank you, and thanks to anybody else who helped out in that great effort.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And to kind of piggyback on that, I know we get a lot of requests around election time for us to be around and make our presence known. I know the sheriff's point of view, and then what we kind of adopt as an office too, is we have that delicate balance of, yes, we want to be there, we want to be providing support, but we also don't want to be too visible to the public as far as around polling places and around the election spots, because we don't want to look like we're trying to influence anybody's decision or want to desire to vote. So we try and find that balance of making sure we're there to help and we're doing what we can, but not overpowering the situation where it looks like we're trying to influence anything, so. It's always that wonderful balance that we're trying to work out and make happen, so appreciate that you guys at least are appreciative when we do show up and be around there, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other comments for the sheriff's office?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on. Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioner and Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jenny Chambers, Lewis Clark County Public Works Director. Typically, I have a lot more to report, but I don't have a lot today because every month I give updates, and this time of the year is the time of year where we're kind of in transition from spring, summer projects with a lot of construction activities to getting prepared for winter and snow removal. So while the weather still is the way that it is now out there, Lewis will continue, that's your equipment operator up here in the Augusta country, he'll continue to grade and do road projects where it's needed until the ground freezes. So I know you see him out and about. That work will continue. This last year as well, we finished the last phase of the Sun Canyon Road project. So the goal on Sun Canyon, because it's an 18-mile stretch, was to start looking every 6 miles. So 3 years ago, they did 6 miles of some gravel and some magnesium chloride for the lower section, then the middle section was done, those 6 miles was done, and this last year we finished the last phase of that project. So now we're gonna be on just regular, about $40,000 to $50,000 a year of any gravel material to fill the voids and then keep it graded and maintained to preserve that 18 miles of work based upon those projects. So hopefully you guys have noticed that on Sun Canyon, but that's the plan moving forward there, is now that that work's been done, it'll just be to try to maintain and preserve that work moving forward. 18 miles is a long stretch of a gravel road. It takes a while to get that preserved and maintained. So then snow plows, I am pleased to say that the process that the Public Works started with the road department in 2021 to acquire and get new snow plows because of the COVID supply issues and demand and trying to get large equipment and all the parts and pieces in place. We just picked up the snow plows this week from our getting them built, getting the sander boxes on them, getting everything put together and assembled. They are now in Public Works shop in Helena, and we've got 2 new snow plows from the order that was done in 2021, and we expect 2 more here shortly to get 4 back from our fleet. That's gonna free up a sale of the ones we have from the 90s, 94 and 95 model. One of those is gonna be sold to the city of East Helena to support another tax base within our Lewis and Clark County. That's gonna be beneficial for those guys there, and then we'll surplus the other ones. That revenue will go back into that fleet for long-term management. So a process from 2021 commissioners that I know that you guys are well aware of. We have them in our hands. We have the keys to those pieces of equipment. And you should have seen the smile on our shop mechanics' face on Friday when they were walking around those vehicles, because it was a long effort for them to push those things through and get them all together. So, and then with that, we do have the snowplow up here in Augusta. There's sand and salt being stockpiled as we speak. The graders on hand. We do have the seasonal hire ready to help Lewis if needed, depending upon what you guys get for snow up in this area. So we're ready. We're ready whenever the snow starts flying in the district offices. That would be Wolf Creek, Craig, Lincoln, and Augusta. So we're ready whenever Mother Nature does what she does with snow for us. So that's kind of on the maintenance side and the general direction, and then we're just planning for fiscal year 25 and those projects moving forward, and I'll share those in upcoming months based upon when we get those plans finalized. The other topic I wanted to focus on today, commissioners, was just bridges. We talk a lot about roads and different things like that. There's over 95 bridges within the county. In Augusta District, there's 27 bridges. And it is amazing, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, the cost that has increased on the cost of bridge and bridge maintenance. Not only at replacement, but also just the rehabbing the existing maintenance of those bridge costs. So in Lincoln, we're finishing, I don't even know when they started, because it was when I came and joined the county, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. The Dalton Mountain Bridge is getting done. It's probably gonna be open now on November 14th. So if you're in that country, go drive the Dalton Mountain Road and look at that bridge from MDT. It's an off-system bridge program. It costs the taxpayers no money. It's a $4.4 million project, because they were patient and worked with the funding mechanisms that exist. And MDT did some funding for the Offices and Bridge program through the federal government. And then we've got, for our match money associated with that, the county, we were able to secure some grant funds through the Department of Commerce, state dollars. So from a local tax base, it did cost you nothing. It still was a tax base on the federal system. $4.4 million is the total completion of that project. That's how expensive some of these bridges are. So if you're in that area, take a drive through that country. It's gonna be a very nice bridge when it's completed. And now that'll be an asset of the county, and it will be maintained by Public Works and county moving forward. So county owns all bridges, and we have to shall maintain those within the county, those 95 total. In Augusta area, we have successfully applied for the MSTEP program, the Montana Coal Endowment Program, grant funding for the Augusta Clemens Bridge. It is a weight restricted bridge that has a very narrow channel that you can't dilip across. That is our next effort as far as in Augusta to get replaced. What that means is we've submitted a grant through the legislature to get that funded. So when they meet in January, we'll see how that bridge ranks out, and we're hoping that we're gonna get money for that project in order to get that developed. It'll be the match money associated with it. We'll still have to find money in our coffers to do that. That's anywhere from $1.2 to $1.5 billion bridge projected. So it's gonna be pretty expensive. The other interesting one, and this is highlight the importance of the weight restrictions. Some bridges have signs that you would drive by. If you're not driving heavy loads or hay trucks or things like that, you don't pay a lot of attention to those. But some of them have like an axle limit on it per load. The Flat Creek Bridge over on Birdtail Road over Flat Creek, sorry, I got too many bridges sometimes, has a 5-ton load limit. MDT was up there in July when they were doing an inspection, because MDT, the Montana Department of Transportation, is the regulatory agency that does inspections of all bridges. They were on site in July and noticed a heavy load go across the bridge when they were doing the inspections. So they contacted the commissioners and of course Public Works and said, how are you going to enforce the load restrictions, because it's unsafe. If a heavy load goes across those too many times, it's gonna fail and potentially fall through. So we don't have a mechanism to enforce those type of things. We're not out there, it's in the kind of middle of nowhere. If we put up cameras to try to do some they'd probably get stolen or shot. Who knows? You guys, the country is the way the country is. So we have to look at that. So we could close the road, which there's not a lot of detour options in place. What we elected to do was limit it to residential vehicles only. So there's a traffic control in place. There's some Jersey rails. You have to navigate the Jersey rails to go across. What that allows, it allows the public and the hunters and the folks that need to go down to town to get groceries or for medical care or emergencies, access across that bridge, but it's going to prohibit any heavy loads from going across that in the future.
How about fire trucks?
Fire trucks, Commissioner, the question was about fire trucks. We've coordinated with Rocky at Wolf Creek, the chief for the Wolf Creek Fire Department area that is responsible for that location. They can't get heavy fire trucks across that. They can get the smaller water trucks based upon a quick response. So yeah, it's gonna have some of those restrictions, and that's just to keep it open temporarily. So just more of importance that if you see those signs that say heavy loads, we have to really watch how they do those, because they're gonna fail. We're gonna work on trying to do a design for Flat Creek to get design in place so we know what the replacement cost is gonna be. The bridge was built in 1910. It's an 85-foot span bridge. It's got a price tag about $1.52 million on it. So just because we're gonna do the design and get the design shelf ready in case we can apply for grant money, doesn't mean we're gonna have the money necessarily to do construction. And what we've told all the landowners up there that are directly impacted by that bridge restriction on the traffic, basically be aware that if we start seeing somebody moving those Jersey rails or changing those detours to get heavy loads across there, we're gonna have to permanently close it. And then they're gonna have no other way through those locations, because MDT is gonna make us if we don't take some controls in place to protect public safety. So I know not great news, but news as far as there's grant money available. We are really aggressively trying to find those when they're available. Up in the Augusta country, the next priority we have for the funding is Augusta Clemens, which is, I know has been your guys' priority, one of your priorities up here as well. But now with the new bridge also in this country, that's gotta have restrictions, it will be the next one, but probably will be 3 or 4 cycles during the legislative session in order to get funding for that. So several years out still. That's all I have, Commissioner.
Thank you, thank you. Questions, Commissioner?
So how many years out is the Flat Creek
We're
Bridge?
we have to do this way, so sorry about that. But if, we'd love to have some public comment. Come on up, please, and introduce yourself. Sorry.
I'm Bobby Levine, and we are impacted by the closure of the bridge. So how many years out before there might be a bridge?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mrs. Levine, it's a tough question. So, this MSEP grant cycle, we're doing the Head Lane Bridge in Helena, which has been on the radar for quite some time. Then the next one on the MSEP funding cycle is gonna be Augusta Clemens, which is located up here. And then it's gonna be the next third one. So 2 years from now, in that January legislative session, we're hoping to have that bridge in that queue for potential funding. But then from there, we have to save on the fund that we have available for capital infrastructure. You're still looking at probably 6+ years out, unfortunately. And that's if we can secure the funding. If not, it's gonna be longer than that. So if MDT has other funding available through the federal government, like the Bridge Infrastructure Program, yes, that's why we're trying to get a design ready now for being shelf ready so that we can, if there's funding opportunities, that's the next one on the list to try to get accomplished. So I know that's not great news. It's the reality of the funding and the prioritization and basically the cost of these bridges overall.
Is there a possibility of putting some kind of a temporary bridge in there, like culverts or railroad car or something like
Yeah,
that?
Mr. Chairman, great question. This spring, when we're able to get out there and really evaluate the site, we're gonna go on site and do a field trip internally with staff. We're gonna need landowner cooperation, so that you guys in the area that are adjacent to that, like I said, this bridge is 85 feet span, but there's other areas on Flat Creek that are shorter than that. So if there's a way that we could get a temporary access agreement with a landowner would be impacted to go downstream, reconvert the road around, do like a culvert for a temporary crossing, that's what we're, this summer that we're hoping to do, that there will be some detour we can put in place, a reasonable detour for the short term, which short term is still quite a few years, knowing that we can't put a temporary bridge because the span is just too long at the current location where it's at. So yeah, there's some low spots. The other complicated thing with that, and we'll have to work through, is the environmental permitting associated with that, working with our federal partners on fish, wildlife, and parks, the turbidity issues, the stream. Luckily, it's not a bull trout stream like the Blackfoot is, so there will be less environmental restrictions, but we'll have to work through all those avenues in order to make that possible. But yes, this spring, after the snow flies and we're able to get out there, we're gonna be able to try to get out, look to see what options might exist, and then work with landowners.
Any chance of doing that this fall? Why does it have to be in the spring?
We just weren't sure, we could still maybe do in the fall. I just have, it depends on when the snow flies. I have limited staff right now. There's some others that had excess leave over the summer season, so they're on vacation. So if we don't have a heavy winter, December, January, and we're able to get on site and actually can get off the roadways to do some investigation, we can still do it this winter as well.
Yeah, because it just doesn't seem like, right now the weather's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're talking what, a day? You're not that, it's not
Yeah.
that far from Helena.
Yeah.
It just seems odd that these people can't find, can't go check this situation out prior to next spring.
No, that's the fair point. I just have Commissioner Kevin Horn's on vacation for the next 3 weeks. I want him integral in this process, so when he gets back in December, we can start looking at maybe getting something like a field day schedule.
Because there's a little snow on the ground isn't gonna,
No.
unless it's 3 feet deep, it's not gonna impact.
Yeah, so we can start
looking at it.
We can start the process to investigate the options this winter. The likelihood that we wouldn't really do the work until the spring would be, we're still in low
I understand
season.
that part, but let's just kind of try to get the ball rolling.
We have been.
And not be having, okay,
Thank
then we'll
you.
do this in
Yeah.
2 months, and then 3 months from now, we'll go check that out, you know, cause
And
the
Mr.
people in the area are severely impacted by this.
Right, but it's been 5 tons for quite a while. So
Mr.
people who are driving over it more than 5 tons have been violating the,
But, yeah,
Rules
they
already.
were, but the rest of us weren't.
right, so if you're not, you can still get across it. So,
Sure.
it's still, you're still able to cross it, we crossed it this morning. So if
Can you
you're
get
under
a
5
stop
tons,
trailer through there?
if it's under 5 tons, I don't know, 30 feet or
I don't think
less,
you
probably not.
can. And
So-
Mr. Chairman, the size of these vehicles sometimes, like a F-350 with a little bit of load on there, you're almost gonna be exceeding that 5 tons. The vehicles these days are a lot heavier, so a stock trail would be a little bit tough, because it was a single axle 5-ton load limit. It wasn't where you could have the weight dispersed on several different axles. The other thing I just wanna mention is we just got notified by MDT on this potential restriction in middle of
I
October.
understand.
So we have been
We
working
know that.
very fast and furious
Thank
on
you.
this. We tried to get all you guys' contacts in the areas that would be impacted. We did the reader board prior to when we did this temporary closure to get the notice out there, because we knew people would be impacted by that. So I hear what you're saying, and we are actively tackling this to try to get
Yeah, cause
controls
it's a
in
big
place.
deal, it's not just,
Yeah.
it's not just recreation, and it's
Right.
our business.
Right,
It's, you know, getting cattle in and out, getting animals in and out, going to pick up something that's lame or hurt, if we can't get a trailer across there, and it's
Right.
rainy, we don't have any access to those cattle, none. We cannot get there because the alternate roads are impassable. I mean, if it starts to sprinkle, you better run for your truck, because you cannot, even in four-wheel drive, you cannot drive those.
And
other roads.
Mr. Chairman, just
Not to mention the huge, you know, how much further it is and how much longer it's gonna take to get.
And just to let the folks in the community know, this bridge is pretty close to the Cascade County boundary line. And so we've reached out Cascade County as well, and they don't have any interest in maintaining that road on the back end, because we explored that as an option to see if there's any kind of partnership we could do to make that road in better condition for the detour versus the other. So some of it is working with our neighboring counties as well on this challenges, because if it was just Lewis and Clark County, we'd have a little bit more control on how some things get put in place. But I appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here.
thank you,
Mr. Chair,
please.
I would suggest, living up there, that if you have neighbors that are in Cascade County, if they'd start rattling the cage of Cascade County commissioners, that might help someone. I know it's a lot further going that way, going to most places you're gonna go, but at least it would give you an alternative.
Okay.
So if you pass the word to your neighbors to rattle the cage of Cascade County, they're gonna listen to their constituents a lot more than they're gonna listen to us, so.
And I think what Commissioner Rolfe is talking about is a possible improvement of that road, so it's more of an all-weather, all-season road all the way across, but that's a big deal for
That's
them
not
as
gonna happen
well.
overnight either.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Commissioner Payne.
I was going to suggest if you can talk to your neighbors your friends who live in Cascade County, they will then talk to their legislators, and as Jenny was talking about, the legislature is where we get the grants and the funding. And if we've got 2 counties and their legislators pounding on the door, we are more likely to be successful. If it's just Lewis and Clark County, you know, ho-hum, but if you've got 2 counties, that could be helpful. I'd also suggest that the people who are impacted, who live out there and are trying to get their hay to market, you know, maybe talk with each other, if you can come up with other ideas, you know, if you've got an uncle with a deep pocket or someplace, because everybody's bitching about their property taxes, everybody's cranky. That road out there, you know, there are people in Lincoln who have no idea that bridge is a problem. So it impacts, and I know it's important to the people who live there, but there's a whole bunch of people who don't live there, and they need bridges too. And it's our job to and that's what Jenny has done, is prioritize. And this is a priority, but we can't fix it overnight. That bridge has had problems and I don't know when the weight limit was put on, but the bridge was built 100 years ago. So if you can come up with ideas on funding or another route, I was thinking better than where that 85-foot span is. Maybe there's a narrower part, or the creek is deeper. They didn't use it in the bygone days because they were just going through the creek. But if we could find a narrower spot, have a shorter span of bridge, that might be more cost acceptable than what we've got now. So if you can think outside the box with ideas, go
And
for it.
Jenny will be available for all those discussions, and her team as well, and really appreciate, we recognize that it's a big deal. I mean, and that was said here today. Thank you for your comments, because we recognize that people's livelihoods and all of that are involved. There's a safety issue, and that has to be paramount for us, and we'll do all we can to try and get that bridge in a better state as fast as we can, or if there's an alternative way to do that, I like the idea of having something temporary until we can get there. But our typical route of funding these bridges is it takes a number of years. Just for a little more detail, that the coal endowment funding, if we get ranked and get picked by the legislature, it only pays half, so we have to come up with 50%. So if you're talking about a $2 million bridge, we have to come up with $1 million, and that's what Jenny's talking about. It's gonna take us a while to accumulate that kind of funding through our regular savings process and all of that to replace that bridge. But if there's other opportunities, so the federal government has recently passed several infrastructure bills, so there are opportunities potentially, and that's what she's talking about, getting the thing designed and engineered. If we have that, she said, on the shelf, then if you have something that is ready to go, you can apply for dollars often that we normally don't get. So we'll work at everything we can to try and make sure that folks can have the shortest path to having access back and forth across there. We know it's important, and we'll do that. So if anyone else has comment or questions, this is the time as well. You can come up and we'll try and listen to folks one at a time. So if anybody else would like to make comment or have any questions for Jenny and for Public Works on this or any other, please come on up. If you'd introduce yourself once you get up there, that would be grand. Thank you.
I'm Joe Barrett. We have land down past there. It's real important. Bobby did a good job. Thank you, Bobby.
You did, Bobby.
We have to get through there to feed cattle in the winter. And I don't know if anybody realizes how much snow can get on that road down there. You put jersey rails up to drive around, the snow's gonna drift in, it's gonna be full of snow, it already is. The county doesn't get down there to plow the snow. We've got a real problem. The bridge it's 115 years old. And all of a sudden it's a surprise, it went bad. I would think the commissioners would have something lined out to take care of replacing bridges at some point. You talk about money. A few years ago, you gave $1 million to the Forest Service to buy some land up here. Maybe that should have been thought about. Do we need this for something else? I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you really realize how big a problem this is. As far as being notified, I wasn't notified. Carol wasn't notified. Levians weren't notified.
None of us knew this was coming at all.
Artie lives right next to it. He wasn't notified. It's a big problem, folks. It really is. We'll be weaning some calves from down there here pretty quick. It'll cost us another, I don't know, 30 miles a trip get around on a road that you can't travel, as Bobby pointed out, with any rain. You like our tax money, I think you better take care of it.
Just, if I might, just respond, I think I understand what you're talking about, because, and it is a difficult problem. The money that was used to purchase that land was money that was voted by the people and could only be used for that purpose. It would have been illegal for the county to use that money for a bridge or a road.
There's a lot of sportsmen drive that road, maybe you could,
I
maybe you
hear
could put
you.
it that way.
I hear you. But, and we have with 95 bridges, those bridges are all on a priority based on a whole series of things, including the number of people that use the bridge every day. And we will get this done as fast as we can, but it's not gonna be an easy, quick fix.
Where are we on the priority list right now?
Well, I don't want people just speaking from the crowd, we have to do this in an organized way if we could. So Commissioner, when you're done, then please come on up and we'll take turns. And
that's all I have.
And I'll have to defer to Jenny for that, but when the problem came up, it immediately moved a long ways up on the list, I know that.
Well, I don't know if you have
Just,
more you'd like to add.
Mr. Chairman, just really quickly, and it won't
No,
solve
go
everything,
ahead.
but
Yeah.
I do want to get the landowners that are directly impacted, your guys' name and contact numbers before we leave today, so I can add you guys' list, and if we have any other dialogue, that we have your information to give you a call. We had a hard time finding some phone numbers as well versus just doing snail mail, which wasn't gonna be much help based upon the time that we had to react. So just to give you a high level, this is our capital improvement plan priority list, and I would be happy to show this to you. It's a negative fund balance on the bottom because we're gonna run out of money based upon the current threshold in 2027. Any grant money we get, which we have been successful to get grant money, that just saves the reserves that we have here because that money's been used otherwhere else for bridges. We currently have 6 on the priority list that we're currently working on now. And some of those are underway, like I mentioned. 4 of those are replacements, 1 of those is engineering, and 1 of those is a rehab. If we can just improve the bridge deck, the bridge beams, there's some things we can do now to preserve those bridges. Those are the ones I have in here on blue. And then bridges over 80 years, the top 6%. The first one on that list was the Bird Tail Road Bridge. So that one was a priority for us based upon time. We were looking at starting the engineering on that in 2026. That's jumped up to this fiscal year now, and then eventually find funding. Augusta Clemens was 2 as a replacement because of the scoring criteria with the Montana Coal Endowment Program and the people that use the Clemens Bridge versus the Bird Tail Bridge and some of the costs associated with that. We thought we would be more successful this cycle to do that bridge, is one that's in progress, with that one coming next, with the Bird Tail one coming next. And then the Chevrolet Drive Jack Walsh Bridge is number 3. That's a rehab. That's on the priority list of more than 80 years as well. That's over Little Prickly Pear outside of Helena. And then we have a whole slew, 15 bridges of bridges over 60, the top 21%, that we don't even really have ranked based upon funding. Because if I go out much further than that on all those bridges, it's not really even possible, but it's in our radar. We track those on a regular basis. If there's something that comes forward as far as some kind of funding opportunities where those might be better served, where we're ready, they're available to do that stuff. So yes, it's been on the priority list. It has been for a couple of years based upon the bridge loading. It's just where it falls in the queue based upon all those activities that the chairman had mentioned, so.
Please come up. Welcome again.
Thanks. Susan Good-Geesey. Is it possible, Commissioners and Jenny, to, because, you know, when these cows need to be fed, they need to be fed, and you know, that's the end
Right.
of the operation, right? So is there any possibility of finding any kind of funding either through the Department of Agriculture or through the Department of Commerce, because that's how these people make their living? So is that a possibility where we can get some assistance for, if these ranchers need to change their feeding pattern if there's any assistance to help them with that. And that would either be, I'm gonna guess through Department of Commerce or Department of Agriculture, so that they can get some grants, so that they can be able to maybe modify their operations if it's possible, in order for them to be able to feed their cows through the winter.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think I like where you're going. I was thinking about that as we were hearing all of the comments, that the level of importance is really high, and so looking at it differently than our normal patterns of replacing bridges and other alternatives, for example, what you just brought up, and/or I think we'll study all of our options, reprioritize in other areas if we have to, or other things, but I don't know, we don't know those answers yet. I think we're gonna have to kind of regroup and look at what our opportunities are. I think we'll talk with our financial staff as well about how we might be able to use reserves or dollars that we have saved in other areas. That's a possibility. I'm not saying we're gonna do that. I'm just saying we can look at all kinds of different options, other grants, dollars that are meant more for urgent situations or emergent situations. So that might be something that we can look at. So I think we'll turn over every leaf and rock that we can. The comments about the Jersey rails and as the weather changes, how they might be a problem. I think there's some ways to work with that around trying to keep it as open as possible, or
Mr. Chairman, we talked a lot about that internally. This solution knows it's gonna come with weather challenges, and we don't necessarily have the ability to clear that snow out of there either, this country based upon where things are at. But that was the median between a full closure versus having some passage depending upon how the weather unfolds. So, it was just trying to balancing those risks, but, definitely want to tell the public and the landowners that are impacted, this is a priority for us. We'll do what we can on our staff time. We'll get out there to see if there's some options available. I've even talked to my road superintendent about maybe we can leave the smaller truck with the plow on front of it, and Wolf Creek, just when Sean has time, our equipment operator in Wolf Creek, maybe there's a way to do some of that, but we really have to kind of see how the next few months go, and then get on site and see what options we have with the detour. So.
thank you. Commissioners, any other questions or comments?
Well, as long as we're just kind of trying to come up with outside the box solutions, would it be of any help to talk to somebody at the Department of Transportation? This is, the reason the bridge is closed is because Montana Department of Transportation said, aha, we got to break the law. It isn't because somebody's truck went through bridge decking, which could happen, which would really close the bridge. But is there anything we can do working with the state to get them to help us with this? This is an emergency, and if they're gonna close the road, they need to be working with our citizens to fix it. What do you think?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Payne, yeah, certainly. I had a call into the Bureau Chief of the Montana Department of Transportation Bridge Bureau last week. We're gonna continue to have those conversations, but again, it's a large state, and
Yes,
unfortunately,
but these people all
infrastructure.
have phones, and
Yeah,
they can call Gianforte, they can call, who's the head of the Department of Transportation?
Director Dorrington, Chris Dorrington.
They could all be getting phone calls from cranky people up here. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we need some help.
All right, thank you. Last opportunity for comment from Public Works. If anyone has any further comment or questions for Public Works, please come on up. If not, we're gonna move on. All right, top that, Mr. Navin. Forest Service report. Kyle, thank you for being here and willing to share some wisdom with us about what's happening on the forest.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kyle Davenant, I'm with the Forest Service here in Augusta. I guess as far as summer wrapping up, it was fairly slow, I guess, fire season, for us this summer, which is a good thing. as far as fire season continuing, we've been fairly busy this last week. We have 2 fires going on right now that were all human caused by underwarming fires. So if you guys could just still please pass the word. We still are in high fire danger, even though it did snow a little bit in the mountains. That kind of mid-slope, rolling hill country is still really dry with the wind. This weekend, we're anticipating we should have more with the hunters out there in the cold mornings. We've had several fires pop up. We had 13 head of stock hauling water yesterday all day to a fire that was like 3 miles off the road. So we have people still actively out there working, doing that. I guess along with that, all of our temporary employees are gone, so no trail crews, no extra fire folks, those guys are all gone for the summer. We are gonna start hiring again. Our perms comes up here in 2 weeks. We'll start our hiring process all over again. One thing with the hiring process, excuse me, this year is the Forest Service is gonna have no temporary employees outside of fire. So how that impacts us, could be an impact, I guess. That'll be like no those trail crew guys, fisheries people, timber folks, any of those college kids that are temporaries. They're not hiring any due to budget. It's been told to us. Fire will have some temps. So we're the only ones in the agency that will have temporary people that come on in the summer, but all those weeds, all that stuff, they're gonna have nobody. Unless something changes in the next month or 2. But that's what we've been told. The hiring event is happening right now, so there was not even any jobs for those kids to put in for. So that could be a big impact coming into next summer and the summer after that. I guess as far as like road stuff, we did get some gravel and some blading done on McCarty Hill. Not the only road we got done this year. But we are slated next year, when it comes back around, Benchmark and all the other roads, the contracts are up for them to get all worked on. And I'll give you more updates on that as we get closer. But for those of you that haven't been over McCarty Hill, it's the first time anybody's ever came in and complimented us on getting a road done, so that was good. Other than that, I think that's all I got, unless anybody has any questions.
How about questions or comments for the Forest Service? And again, we'll have to come up to the podium if you do. Anyone? Thank you very
Thanks.
much, sir. Appreciate you being here. And like we mentioned in the beginning, we have public health folks here today. Just a note for those folks that are interested in the bridge discussion, Jenny will be around. She'll hang around and visit with folks if you'd like to discuss with her. But we have public health here today, and Shelley's gonna lead, I think, so you can introduce yourself again, please. And each month we've been having a public health topic on the agenda. So, welcome.
Hi, I am Shelley Mond. I'm the public health nurse supervisor at Lewis Clark Public Health, and the topic this month is vaccines. So I just kind of wanted, the nurses at public health do a lot of things, but vaccines is a huge piece of what we do. So just wanted to kind of give a little spiel for that. At public health, we are kind of the backstop, I usually say, of vaccines. It's like vaccines are available in a lot of places, pharmacies, doctor's offices. So we are kind of that, we don't have a provider, we can't get to the pharmacy. We're traveling, we do travel vaccines, which are very unique vaccines, typhoid, yellow fever, etc. So those vaccines that you can't get elsewhere, so.
Jenny, if there's any way we can take the conversation maybe even outside in the sunshine.
Or how about over on the
Or
ceiling?
next door it's locked though. I don't know, they're not open today. I don't know what's going on.
Sorry.
But maybe out front. Thank you.
So anyway, just wanted to let you know, we have vaccines from 2 months old to 150 years old. And we also just offered flu and COVID vaccine up here from a clinic right before the government day started. So our plan is to continue to come up here every fall. I'm hoping it's moved earlier next year, and maybe more towards the beginning of October to hit people before they actually get their flu and COVID vaccines. Really important, RSV vaccines are important, especially those 75 and over, pregnant women, babies. RSV season hits, that's respiratory syncytial virus. It's a respiratory virus that hits at the same time COVID hits and the same time flu hits, and it's very damaging and harmful for older people and babies. So really encourage people to see if they have that vaccine and look at getting that. So that's kind of what we do.
All right, about vaccines. Anybody have questions?
Do you want
Or further information? Come on up, please. welcome.
Hi, I'm Amber with the Public Health Department, Communications. And so on Tuesday, we're having a third screening of The Invisible Shield at the Myrtle Theater. And the topic this month is inoculations. So, you know, if you're curious about just the science of vaccines and also the debate around vaccines that's happening today, as well as, like, for example, in 2000, measles was declared eradicated in the United States of America. But as of 2024, it is now present in 24 United States states. So we're starting to see the resurgence of many diseases that we once considered completely eradicated in the Western world. And so if you are interested and you want to drive down to Helena or you have Helena friends, it's going to be at the Myrtle Theater. It's an hour-long documentary series, and then we have an hour community discussion, and it's open. We're open to people agreeing with us, disagreeing with us, but it's an important conversation to be having. And so if you'd like to be part of that conversation, it's going to happen on Tuesday, November 12th, the Myrtle Theater. Again, movie from 6:30 to 7:30, and a community conversation from 7:30 to 8:30. I would love to. I know Andy has come once. Candace, yes.
Is
Please
this,
come twice.
is this available on Zoom? I mean, it's a big deal.
It is
right?
not.
You got
So
to-
the documentary series is actually streaming on PBS. Like you can watch it. You can go to PBS and watch it. Anybody can.
But that's not the same as participating in a Zoom
Correct.
conversation.
And it's just as far as like just being at the Myrna, and there's not. It's not really. Well, our conversation, we do try to run mics, but yeah. Even if you can't come to the movie, you can still watch it on PBS. It's called The Invisible Shield. It's a 4-part documentary series on public health. So, but would love to see you there, Tom, Candace. Hope you'll. Oh, you came last month, didn't you, Tom? That's great. Okay. So anyway, just putting the plug in for that.
So, question about today, how'd it go?
Great.
Well, lots of,
Yeah, Augusta, when we come to Augusta, and we do miss Sarah, we love Sarah, that's one opportunity we come up to see Sarah, but we always have a great clinic. Like I said, we knew we were coming today, so we moved the clinic a little bit later in the year, which isn't optimal because a lot of people already get their flu and COVID vaccines, but it's always a great clinic that we have up here. People coming in and getting their flu and COVID shots, and it's always fun. We do a lot of outreach. We go to Lincoln, we go to Augusta, we're school nurses at Wolf Creek and Canyon Creek, and then we do a lot of other flu, COVID type clinics throughout the whole year, so.
great.
And just, I know that the future of public health in Augusta has been a concern for this community since Sarah retired, and again, we are sad to see her go as well. So we're having a meeting with a handful of people this afternoon, just to kind of talk about, what public health services, in partnership with, health providers around the county, how we can join forces to serve the Augusta community, from obviously the young to the elderly. So we'll be having that conversation that will be ongoing, and it is our mission to make sure that you do not feel like we've forgotten you, and that we are working together with our partners to make sure to bring you as great care as we possibly can in the future.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for public health? Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here. Glad it was a good clinic. All right, as we said at the beginning, we do have one action item today, and Jenny's going to introduce it for us, but I will read the title here, which is a license and use agreement between Louis Clark County and the Augusta Food Share.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Again, Jenny Chambers, Louis Clark County Public Works Director. So this agreement today, that's an action item for your guys' consideration, is Augusta food between Augusta Food Share and Louis Clark County. The Augusta Food Share is a nonprofit organization with a mission to serve food insecure population in the Augusta area without any discrimination. And the execution of this license use agreement would allow the use of the community center, this part of the county's building, to provide a space to store food and a place to coordinate activities for those in the community that need it. The agreement lays out terms and conditions of the use of the Augusta Community Center, which is a county-owned building. The food share will have office hours established per this agreement, and for food share activities to require the coordination and communication through the Lewis and Clark Library. So as you guys know in the community, this space is available for folks to utilize as needed for the community, but they must coordinate with the Lewis and Clark Library, Holly, in order to use the space. And so we want to make sure there's no conflict on reservations and use of the ability. So the Augusta Food Share will have to work through that interlocal agreement as well based upon use of this building. They will be responsible for cleaning and completing the building checklist upon use so that it's readily available for the next person that comes in and needs to use the facility. And they have also partnered, the Augusta Food Share has partnered with Rocky Mountain Development Council Incorporated and has a memorandum of understanding to support the site as a Rocky Retired and Senior Volunteer Program station, and that Rocky Mountain Development Center is also a nonprofit community action agency that has provided the general liability insurance for the Augusta Food Share coverage. So it's a great partnership based upon the supporting of this effort. The county will be responsible for any building updates, maintenance, and building related requirements in accordance with our budget requirements and the county procedures, as well as cover the cost of any electricity use. The agreement is effective for initial period of time of 3 years, and it may be renewed up to 7 years with notice, and can be terminated for any cause with providing each entity 90 days notice of that termination. Staff recommends approval of this license use agreement with the Augusta Food Share for the use of the Augusta Community Center, and Sarah Howe-Cobb, who's the president of the nonprofit Augusta Food Share, is here, as well as Susan Good-Geesey, who is also a volunteer within that retired senior living program through Rocky Mountain for this station. So happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any questions, commissioners, at this point?
No.
Any, either the partners want to make comment, please? Please, welcome again, Commissioner.
Again.
To get your steps in.
I know. Mr. Chairman, I would say, if, I would like you to, Susan Good-Geesey, I'd like you to consider making an amendment, because there's a Scribner's error. It is Rocky Mountain Development Council. Okay, and so I think you can just modify the motion, because it's a Scribner's error, just a technical thing, but you want it to be right.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Susan Good-Geesey. I might have missed saying council when I was reading that. My memo has Rocky Mountain Development Council Incorporated.
Oh, okay, very
The
good.
agreement has Rocky Mountain Development Corporation, or Corporation Council Incorporated.
Okay,
So
all right.
I think it's correct on the documents.
Okay.
That's what I get for talking 5,000 miles per hour and having a lot of words to try to keep us somewhat on schedule for your guys' public health meeting.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Please, sir. If you'd introduce yourself, please.
I'm Sarah Halcott. This is my Halloween face. I'm sorry, guys, I'm using cream on it. I just want to thank you for considering this. Linda Wolf and I started it 30 years ago. We've been all over different buildings and stuff. It's very important for our community. There are only 333 people, but there is food insecurity here. I have Terry Clark and Susan Geesey have come on as partners. I've been alone since Linda's left. It's huge relief. Jenny has worked tremendously with us to get this going. I just really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough that at one point I thought we would be thrown out to the cold and try to figure out where to keep food again and stuff. So it's very, very kind, and I hope you seriously consider it and give us thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment on this item? Any public comment?
Emily Boyles, I represent Fabulous Fogies, which is a grassroots organization serving seniors in Augusta, Fairfield, and Helena. And I support having a food bank here, but I'd like to hear before the county commits resources. There's a perception in our county that there is a separation between the haves and the have-nots. And with more people coming into Augusta, primarily because they can't afford housing in Great Falls or Helena any longer, there's a perception that they don't feel welcome here. And our group has been serving people, we've been providing food boxes. One thing that I'm concerned about is the name of Augusta Food Share, because you're not working currently, to my knowledge, with Helena Food Share. And Helena Food Share reported to me just a few days ago that they didn't understand why they're getting so many people from Augusta going to Helena to get food boxes. And in fact, our organization is supplying Thanksgiving boxes for nearly 20 families from the Helena Food Share, because they are food insecure and they don't know how to coordinate it. There's at least 2 other groups here in town which are providing informal food boxes for people as they are needed, and some informal, essentially case management services. So I'm just very concerned that we make sure that in your development of your new organization, you're bridging the gap, that we are all working together on the same grants to provide food. We've provided over $10,000 of food this year to people in our community. And that's not Helena or Great Falls, that's right here. And that's out of people's pocket. So I just, as you develop this, I think it's very important that you make public to the group how you're going about that process, and maybe consider the name of Food Share. I know it's been the name here for a long time, but it's confused a lot of people, including some of the folks that are working with the Helena Food Share, which does serve Lincoln and the entire Lewis and Clark County, and may be beneficial to partner with in order to serve this community in the same way.
Thank you for your comment, appreciate your comment. Let's see if there's other comment, and then we'll answer questions at the end here. So any other public comment? Any other public comment on this item? Okay, Sarah, if you want to answer a question, Jenny, if
This
there's
is
any
Sarah
for you.
Halcom. I appreciate, Emily, your thoughts. I want to give a history. This has been going on for 30 years. There's been 2 of us that have run the whole program here. We'll give it a thought. Emily, you've been in touch with us. You're going to come in on the program. So I'm not quite sure where all this energy is going. We serve Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, and we serve 20 families. And so families are finding other places to go. Some of them go to Fairfield, some go to Shoto, some go to Helena. Linda and I made a choice a long time ago not to include the Missoula Food Bank. It's a lot of paperwork. We talked to the people in Shoto. We just do our own paperwork here, it was easier. I have new people coming on board, so we'll see what happens, and if we need to change the name. I put it up weekly, monthly, in the Augusta, those school paper is our only paper. I put signs up, I talk to people, I have my list of people I contact. Now, if I have fallen short, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can, and I do appreciate your ideas, but I feel like maybe this isn't the forum to talk about all that, that we can do it personally. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, and that is a good comment. There may be opportunity for the folks that are going to be actually offering the services to visit about ideas for change, improvement, or expansion, whatever it might be. This today is an agreement between us and the group so that we have the space available and the opportunity to continue the service, and then they can take it from there. Anything else, Jenny, that you want to?
No, Chairman.
Any other public comment? Okay. We'll close public comment. Commissioners, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the licensing or use agreement between Lewis and Clark County and Augusta Food Share, as explained by Ms. Chambers and others.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the licensed use agreement as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? Well, I, for one, really appreciate the work, and I hope the community comes together and really continues this service. It's been going on for this many years, and it is important. And I want to point out Commissioner Goodkisi, who kind of ran roughshod on it in Helena with us and tried to make sure that we had an opportunity to get to this point. So thank you for your good work. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate it. With that, Commissioners, all in favor of the motion, time in the meeting where we will take public comment on any item that is under the jurisdiction but not on today's agenda. And I think we have a few comments, and yes, I was gonna bring that up, so you go ahead, Commissioner, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make people aware that there was a meeting up here about the growth policy and future land use map. And there was a meeting here. If you haven't had a chance to be involved in it, you're interested in it, pick up one of these sheets. There's a QR code so that you can get all the background information on it and the updated information. These are processes that have to go forward every so many years to be updated so that any zoning and land use policies that are created within the county, will hold water. And as could be expected, there are a lot less of that going up in Augusta than there is down in the Helena Valley. But this is of interest to people. You should take a hard look at it and pick one of these up and use the QR code to follow it up.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, very important. Please.
Betsy Kirkby, Communications and Community Outreach. As part of that, there is a survey that you can go on there and you can give your feedback, and we would really like to hear from you guys so that everybody's voice is taken into consideration.
Looks like actually two surveys.
Could
Future
be.
land use map
Right.
survey,
One
and
for
then
each.
the growth policy survey. So we'd like a lot of participation. The more feedback we get, the better documents and maps we can make sure that we produce and have ready to go.
Thank you
very
for
much.
any of your feedback you can give us. Thanks.
You bet. I know we have at least one other organization that might have a few things to say about, you want to let us know what's going on from Ability Montana?
Ability Montana.
Yes, please, come on up, introduce yourself if you would, Charles.
I'm Charles Alvarez from Helena, with Ability Montana, independent living specialist, behavioral peer support, walk audit facilitator, ADA certified, you name it. I mean, what we do is, what I tell people is we help people with life, and right now we have a self-direct program, so anyone that's aging out, disabilities, and then when I say disabilities, we mean depression, addiction, all the way up to anything physical or behavioral health. We can help out with that. Our self-direct program is a Medicaid-based program, but if you are on Medicare or whatever, we can help find the loopholes for the spend downs and all that, so you can get Medicaid as well to qualify for that program. Unless you're a vet, like I'm a combat vet, and this is why we actually started this. I used to not be able to walk and stuff. It was hard to get help, and the VA was really hard to work with. But we started a veterans-directed care program now, so now vets can get the choice and direct their own care. We build a VA, they pay us back, we write a check. So in legislation, we've been working really hard in that over the past few years to get the personal care assistant wage from, I think it was like $13, $14 some odd cents an hour. Now we've got it up to $18.50 an hour is what we've been really working on. So now vets can choose who their friends or family, anyone they want, they can now choose to have them come and help them with their daily chores or whatever it is, medication reminders, meal prep, getting dressed, bathing, whatever it is. And our self-direct program works the same way, but that's to everybody, not just vets. Another reason I'm up here is working with the University of Montana Rural Institute and the CDC. That's the original reason I came up here. I didn't know any of this was going on today, so we got a grant. It's a U.S. Aging grant, and so what we're trying to do is get rural health and vaccine clinics and our services to the most rural areas. So my job's 14 counties is what I'm covering right now to get out to all these counties. Get this information out there, so whether it's accessibility, accommodation, or whatever it is that's maybe not letting you come out into the community or to get vaccines or to get health care or to find the services you need, I'm here to find out what those needs are. I do have some surveys, lots of flyers, cards. I mean, we even have accessible vans if that's needed. We can come up and if you want to hire a PCA, to come up here and take you to the store, you can call like me or something, and we can work a way out to get you those accessible items and accommodations. But overall, my main goal is to let you know about our services, let you know you're in our service area. We used to be Montana Independent Living Project, we rebranded and we're Ability Montana now. So we're a Center for Independent Living. So I'm just here to, our main goal, and there's 5 core services up here too, right underneath the self-direct program flyer. If you guys really wanna know what our 5 core services are. But pretty much just to help you with life and to help you be independent and your community and get you the services and navigate the system. And I also will advocate for you, so wherever it is. But there's information up here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here today.
Oh.
There are brochures and whatnot up here, and you'll be around after if someone wants to visit with you.
Well, and then one thing I'm gonna talk to Sheriff Dutton, CIT Montana, and I also do a Living Well in the Community class. I used to do it at the VA to help the cadets adjust back in from society, into society from combat. Now I do a class at the Lewis and Clark County Jail, Living Well in the Community. The inmates all call it life skills. I mean, it can be, but there's so much more to it. Getting ready to do another one to help homeless adjust into housing. And also, talking to Sheriff Dutton, I am coming up with a PowerPoint and a presentation to help create peer programs within the departments, CIT and all that. And also start teaching a class to law enforcement and everyone else about hidden disabilities. So if you guys have any questions on that, that's right up my alley. And that's what once I get this presentation PowerPoint done, but right now this grant, I'm in 14 counties all day, every day, and just driving. That's all I do is drive, and not to mention everywhere else they send me for training. So if you wanna pick my brain, have any questions, there's stuff here, you can just come and talk to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. B. Okay. How about anyone else? This is the time for public comment about anything, please.
We got an update for you.
An update, okay, and then,
So I was able to send a text out for the explosion conversation that came up earlier. So Builders First did have a semi-truck catch on fire last night. Fire then actually spread to a forklift, so that's what the noises were, was a lot of times when vehicles catch on fire, equipment catches on fire, you get loud bangs and what sounds like explosions. Nobody reported any injuries, just a couple of damaged vehicles, but that is the information that I got, so.
Okay.
It wasn't anything that was a major public safety threat, it was just a fire for us to make a whole bunch of noise about.
all right, thank you very much. All right, how about public comment? Looks like we have, all right. If you'd introduce yourself, please.
Susie Taylor, Chamber of Commerce and Blue Pine Wine across the street. We all know Monday is Veterans Day, but what not everybody knows is that Sunday is the 249th birthday of the U.S. Marines. So, we have a local who has always enjoyed the gala in Great Falls, and we're no longer able to do that. And so a few of us just kind of impromptu decided to have a birthday party on Sunday at my place at 4 p.m. Everyone's welcome, military or not. Just love to have whoever would like to show up. Just simple as that.
Fantastic, thank you. And you just reminded me, a week or so ago, the commission passed presented a proclamation. Commissioner Rolfe was the lead of that. And I don't know if you want to tell everybody about it, or if you want me to go ahead.
Well, we wanted to commemorate the Veterans Day and the whole idea of all of our wonderful vets that have kept our freedoms alive over the years. And there's a national program that's being supported by the National Association of Counties that we wanted to add in, where people are putting on green lights on their porches and whatnot. We asked people in the county to, if you've got some green lights, if you don't have them, you can get them in a hardware store, or you can get them online through Amazon, because Amazon's helping to sponsor this nationwide. And it's just a way of showing a little solidarity. Since we've been doing this, I've got a neighbor in the yard in my neighborhood, and we kind of compete to see who gets their green lights up fastest, and he beat me by 2 days this year. But we're gonna have in our neighborhood, we're gonna have green lights up for the whole month of November to support the veterans.
Yeah, thank you. I've got mine up. All right.
I couldn't buy some.
Anything else? Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Our next meeting is December 13th, right here in